Everyone. Welcome to the Midlands African Chambers Power Hour Business Development Virtual Live stream proudly presented by Google. I am Fidel Mienso, Operations Manager at the Midlands African Chamber, and I'll be your host today. We are thrilled to have you join us this evening for an insightful discussion on the NSBAA Grant preparation. Our guests today are Eden Butler and Jim Reiff. Eden, go. 1 second. Eden is the executive director at Grow Nebraska Women Business Center. Born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Eden moved to Omaha, Nebraska in 2014 when she launched her graphic marketing company called Phoenix Under Fire. Since its beginnings, Phoenix served several national nonprofits and small businesses that eventually led her to creating graphic works for Grow Nebraska. Soon after connecting with the Hadley esteemed organization, the partnership quickly evolved into a job opportunity with Grow Nebraska Women Business Center, which Eden is now sitting as the executive director. Since the age of 11, Eden has been classically trained in trumpet, baritone, and tuba, which laid the foundation for her professional music career that began in 2004 when she discovered her passion for professional music career that began in 2004 when she discovered her passion for drums. After relocating to Omaha, Nebraska, she performed with notable artists such as multi-platinum hip-hop legend Twista, international violinist Dominic Hemmings, DJ Khalid, The Voice finalist Leah Janae, and Grammy-nominated jazz organist Midtown. Eden is also the drummer for the award-winning band Angeli and Timeless, which has won 3 Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards for Artist of the Year and Best in R&B. The band has opened for top artists like Twista, Life Jennings, and Lecrae and Keith Sweat. Eden is also an endorsed artist for Constantine Cymbals. Thank you for being with us, Eden. Now we're going to have Mr. Jim Reiff. Jim Reiff is currently the executive director of the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, a certified CDFI serving small and micro businesses across Nebraska and Southwest Iowa. Beyond NEF, Jim serves on the advisory board member of Meta Fund, an investment CDFI based in Oklahoma, a board member of Family Housing Advisory Services, board chair of Heartland Bike Chair. Jim has spent over 20 years in the economic development field, focused on micro and small businesses financing and development. He started full-time work in the economic field and the Northwest Nebraska Economic Development District as a loan and community development officer. He subsequently took several international roles, including the CEO role in Albania, serving over 5,500 clients, the CEO and managing director of an Indian microfinance company serving over 70,000 clients, and the managing director and Opportunity International's Latin American region for community development and business finance organizations. Jim is a graduate of St. Olaf College and Eastern University with an MS in Economic Development, is certified as an Economic Development Finance professional. He has served in the U.S. Army Reserves and as a Peace Corps volunteer. His 2 daughters are at UNL studying education and sports journalism. Today, we will be discussing invaluable insights and practical guidance for preparing your NSBAA grant applications. Without any further ado, please join me in welcoming Eden Butler and Jim Reiff. Eden, thank you for being with us today. Jim, thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a great honor to be a part of the Power Hour for today. And of course, thank you for, the partnership with Midlands African Chamber.
Yeah, the same here. We're always glad to have you here. Glad to be involved with Accelerator and other activities at the Midlands African Chamber. What a great organization, and look forward to pitch black in July. So I'll just throw that in.
Thank you for being with us, and thank you for your partnerships, as usual. And we will go ahead and get started with your presentation. Jim, please take it away.
All righty. Great. Well, we're going to be talking tonight about the Nebraska Small Business Assistance Act. This is act that I'll talk about in a second, but it's administered by Grow Nebraska and Nebraska Enterprise Fund in Grow Nebraska Women's Development Center. Eden, I messed that up. I apologize. But Eden and I, our administrators, were helping Grow do this. We don't have control over the exact details. We just help administer it. So we're going to be able to share some of the lessons we've learned doing this the past year and a half, as well as some of the tricks and tips. And just want to note, the applications are not being accepted right now. The next round will be opening late February or early March. We will keep everybody posted, but they are not open currently. But we will give you all the tips and tricks. Also, it's becoming super competitive. So we want to make sure you get the help ahead of time to make sure you're doing a great job and have the best application available. So what is the SBAA, or NSBAA as we call it? It was created by LB 450, and that's Small Business Assistance Act through the Department of Economic Development. And it allows grants to be provided for professional business services and startup businesses within the last 5 years. Okay, so that means if you started a business in the last 5 years or a startup currently, you may be eligible. We'll go over some of the eligibility, though, through that. And is discussed, here's who's working together. Eden's representing Grow Women's Business Development Center, Nebraska Enterprise Fund, Center for Rural Affairs, and Nebraska Business Development Center. All four of us are available to provide resources and so forth. Eden's done a great job with her organization. Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center provides a bail every week. So she has people there every week. NEF provides one of the resources there, but she has about 4 to 6 different resources every single week. So that's something to think about. Program objectives is really to help our ecosystem grow entrepreneurial talent and establish a statewide reach that allows businesses to get going. We can provide funding or support in accounting and budgeting. In some cases, tax return prep, that might be a little bit old. Human resource management, writing your business plan, we can all help with that. We have resources we can direct you to payroll, financial planning, debt management, strategic and business planning, technology coaching, and preparing your financial statements and looking those over with you. Eden, I don't know if you want to add anything up to this point.
That's pretty much it. That covers the foundational basis. And of course, if you ever have any questions about what does qualify, you can feel free to contact any of the 4 entities that Jim listed earlier to ask questions about what actually we can cover with this grant opportunity.
Yeah, and we'll talk more. So probably the nuts and bolts. What is this? Okay, if you're a qualified new business, and that's somebody, we'll talk a little bit more, but less than a year old, you can qualify for up to $25,000. Please note, just because that's the maximum, that may or may not be the amount that's awarded. There's been a little bit in, sometimes people say, oh, I applied for the whole amount, but I only got this amount. That's because maybe something wasn't eligible, or like we said, this is competitive. So we have to make sure that the resources are being used to impact the most businesses possible in an effective way. If you're over 1 year but less than 5 years old, you may be qualified for up to $12,500. So that's still a significant grant, significant amount of funding that can help you. As you can see, we do have Spanish speakers. I think 3 of the 4 organizations listed have Spanish speakers, so we can get you help and support. The program will have its next round open in March 25th, and there will be some grant dollars. They will be super competitive. So we want you to start working now and next week after Christmas to get ready. So when you submit on March 1st or March 15th, when it opens, you have the best application possible. How do I qualify for this thing? Okay, first of all, you have to be a for-profit business. We've had a lot of questions. Hey, I'm a nonprofit business. Can I apply? No. There's other grants. There's other opportunities for nonprofit. This is only for a for-profit business. You must be based in Nebraska. This is Nebraska state dollars. So you have to have your location, your activity, and everything in Nebraska. Legal age in Nebraska, as we all know, is 19. So you must be at least 19. You must be a U.S. resident and have, or citizen, of course, and be able to show that if requested. And you can't have ownership in another business. So perfect example, I'll pick on Eden. Eden also has a graphic design business. So if she said, I want to set up a rideshare business under this grant, she would not be eligible because has another business already. And what we just say is you have to have 51%. We've had cases where somebody's husband or wife runs a business and they have 75% and maybe the spouse has 25%. That we can work with, but it has to be less than 50%. Applicants also have some specifics that they'll need to meet. Eden, anything on the basics of this slide? I know there's more. We'll get into more detail as we go on.
Yeah, the only thing that I just want to make mention is, of course, like what you were saying before, we also want to be equitable to our South Omaha entrepreneurs as well. So if you do have I-10 status, that is definitely something that we can review as well. So we, of course, want to be fair and equitable to all of our Nebraska citizens that are looking forward to this opportunity. So don't let something like that stop you from, like I said, inquiring and seeing how we can be able to assist.
Yeah, thanks, Eden. That's really important.
Absolutely.
Okay, to qualify, here's some of the criteria. For new businesses, you have to be full-time, or for-profit, and you have to have less than 5 full-time equivalents. So if you have 10 part-times, you have to count up the hours and see if it's 5 full-time equivalent, or if it's 10 people working 15 or less hours or 18 or less hours each, that would be okay. So again, Eden, myself, our teams can help you determine, do I have that? So maybe I have 2 full-time and 4 part-time. We can help you figure out that. You have to have an adjusted gross income of less than $55,000. That is written into the statute or the law. So we have to follow that. There are, you can deduct certain things, and Eden probably can talk way more than I can because she's done that more than I have about some of the things that you can deduct from your adjusted gross income. You also have to have a current net worth of less than $200,000, but that excludes your primary residence. So if maybe you say I'm worth $300,000, but my house is worth $200,000, you would be eligible. If you were worth $500,000 and your house is $200,000, your adjusted net worth would be $300,000. You would not be eligible. Most people we've worked with, I'll be honest, they have had no problem with this, but we just want to make you aware of it. You also need to be willing to work with one of the 4 service providers we mentioned at the beginning, us, GROW, the Women's Development Center, and NBDC. Eden, you might want to talk a little bit about the AGI because I know you're much closer to that than I am.
Yeah, absolutely. So for that, it's just more so of just make sure that, well, firstly, it's really important that you have you're current on your taxes, that you have paid your previous taxes, because we will be asking for your tax documents. We don't want them, of course, sent. We don't want any copies. We, of course, want to keep everything safe and secure. But typically when we have our initial meetings, we are asking to review your tax documents to make sure that you are meeting the requirements. And the main part is, a lot of people that, of course, apply for this, The target is the 55,000. So you pretty much know whether or not you qualify. But if there is any questions, again, feel free to reach out to any of the 4 entities so that we can go ahead and get you some correct answers.
Super. Thanks, Eden.
Absolutely.
Existing businesses, it's a little bit different because you're existing. You have to be less than 5 years old as of March. This date will probably change. It'll be March 2025 since we're going into March 2025.
Yeah.
You have to have had gross revenue growth of less than 25% in the previous calendar year. And I'll give 2 examples. Say you grew by $25,000 and last year you made $100,000, you would be right on the borderline because you went from 100 to 125. But say that last year you were at $25,000 and you grew to $27,500. This year you would be less than that 25% growth. So, and again, we can help you calculate that. That's not a problem. We just need you to be able to show you what did you do and how has your growth been. We already talked about it. It's the same net worth, the $200,000 or less, and it's also the same 5 full-time employees or less. So, Eden, I don't know if you have any other comments on the existing clients.
Nope, that was pretty much it. You did wonderful on this one.
All righty. Eligibility, LB 450, that is the law that was passed. It defines what small business for this purpose is as a business with 5 or fewer employees, no more than 5 full-time equivalents based on the hours worked, not including the owner. So you don't need to count your time. You need to count the other people that are in your organization. They can be used for eligible business purposes. These are only some examples. It's not limited, but startup costs, a certain number of months, usually 2 or 3 months of rent, especially if you're renovating a building, the cost it takes to incorporate, things like that are startup costs. Working capital, up to 2 or 3 months of inventory if you're doing something is an example of working capital. Even a little bit of your employees, not your salary, but possibly a little bit of salary for 1 or 2 of your employees. Franchise fees. So if you're going to open a franchise fees are a possible use of funds. Equipment and inventory. However, I will say vehicles are on a very limited basis. So if you come and ask for a vehicle, I'll be honest, you're probably not going to get the vehicle funded. If you ask for equipment to go inside that vehicle or equipment for that business, that's a really high probability of being funded at some level or a full level. It also can cover some of the purchase and renovation of eligible places of business, but they cannot be for passive real estate investment purposes. What that means is, say you're a business and you need to fix up the office space and you're going to use that office space, that's an eligible use. But if you're going to fix up an office space and then rent it to Fidel, that is an ineligible use. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to use it, you can use these funds. If you're going to rent it to somebody, these funds aren't for that type of purpose. So Eden, I guess anything on those topics?
Yeah, the only thing that I think is not necessarily covered on this slide is we can pay up to 3 months worth of any fees. So if you're requesting insurance, you need business insurance, we can definitely assist you with that, but only up to 3 months. Same thing if it's like what Jim was saying, if you have a space that you've renovated, space that you're having your business at, and you're looking for utility assistance, we could definitely do that. But again, it's up to a maximum of 3 months. So just be realistic with your goals, and always think forward. So, if you're asking for something, make sure that it's of, like I said, just really be intentional, I guess is really what I'm trying to say about your request, and make sure that it makes sense so that we can go ahead and move the ball forward with you.
Exactly. Thanks, Eden.
Sure.
There's different ways you can get support. We've changed this a little bit since this slide came out, but this is gives you the basics. You can get professional business development services. So maybe you only want some help putting together a business plan. Probably the best person, you'll probably get referred to NBDC for that. They hired and are working on a special program to really give the best service possible. But that's a possibility. There's the provision to get the grants for the business to start up or expand your existing business. Or you could ask for both services and grants. And some of the services we've seen, say you need accounting services, or you need a marketing consultant to help you get your marketing or website put together, legal assistance. Maybe we've seen it both. Somebody that wants to set up their business as an LLC or a corp, or somebody that maybe needs some advice on trademarks or something specific, or setting up a specific contract. Eden, anything else? You've seen hundreds of these by now, so
we've definitely done quite a few. And like you said, anywhere from tax services, website design. So essentially, professional services. If we want to look at it from a different perspective, if we're needing to contract someone to do work for us, that you're not necessarily purchasing yourself, we need to bring in another entity to do it for you. That's essentially the definition of a professional service. So if you're needing, like Jim said, that CPA, you're needing tax services, you're needing somebody else to come in to help you in a specific area, then that would be considered as professional services.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification, Eden. It's a really broad range and can really get you that service that moves your company to the next level. Startups, we talked about it, but I want to reiterate, up to $25,000, $55,000 in the previous year for earned income, but don't hesitate to reach out and ask if you're on the border, because there are certain things that we can deduct as legitimately coming out of your income. Your net worth, and that does exclude your primary residence. So don't worry, just be honest. Here's how much I have, but here's how much the house is worth. And you cannot have a significant over 50% ownership interest in another business. Okay. For the existing businesses, I'll reiterate, up to $12,500. And instead of some of the others, we look at the gross revenue increase from one year to the next year. So is it less than 25%? Again, we have people that can help you evaluate and see. If I was 42%, there's no use filling it out, I'll be honest. But if you're 24%, absolutely, please fill it out. So we can help you determine, does it make sense for me or not? Again, the personal worth, and then the same about business ownership. Really, and part of the reason they might seem a little strange, but remember, this law is intended to encourage our entrepreneurial community to start businesses, and folks that maybe don't have the resources to do so, this is to give everybody a little bit of a chance to really become an entrepreneur. So it's a great opportunity to either expand or grow and start your business. Before applying, and Eden's going to have ideas here too, but first, make sure you understand what we're looking for, and make sure you're connecting with a resource provider, especially now, because it's going to be so competitive. We want you to be connecting. It doesn't matter which one of us, but one of the four we mentioned at the very beginning. Get in touch, start working on it, start getting that business plan ready. It doesn't need to be a 500-page business plan. It needs to be a 3 to 5-page business plan. Start getting your use of funds ready. What are you going to use the funds, and your financial projections? Again, we are doing classes on this. We are doing training, and we are doing coaching. Have your business plan, and what we need when in the business plan, two things that we're seeing really need. You need to have a super sharp focus on who is your market, who are you really selling to, and does that market have enough to get you to your sustainability? Okay, that's just, there's more to the business plan, but that's one thing that has become really important. We want to see your revenue projections. Especially your first year of sales. So how are you going to get to your first year of sales, and how are you going to do in years 2 and 3? And again, that relates to your business market. How are you going to get, if you say I'm going to sell 100,000, great, but show us how as well.
Right.
And then the third thing, and we see a lot of people make a mistake here, we need the detailed usage of the grant funds. Okay, you have to use, if you ask for something, you have to use it in a similar way. We've had people, oh, I want grant funds for this purpose, but then they use the grant funds for purpose C, and we have to say we can't disperse the second round because you didn't use your first round the way you said. So if you say you're going to buy a point of sales, a POS system, totally good. That's a legitimate use of grant. But then all of a sudden, instead of buying a POS, you build a website. You didn't use the grant towards the way you said you would. So be super clear and make sure what you say you're going to do is what you're going to do. The other little trick, we can't reimburse something you already have. So if you already have a POS and give us the receipt for it, but you bought it in January of 2025 and this opens in March 2025, we won't be able to reimburse. So just make sure you give it to something that you know you need and you know you can justify. Eden, I know you have more to add to this one.
Not too much. It's just more so just to kind of reiterate what you said. Be intentional about your requests. Be intentional about how you're going to utilize these funds to be actually be able to grow your business. And then be able to tell your story. I think that's the most important part that a lot of people miss. They're so focused on the mission that they forget to be able to tell that story beyond just what's being read on the business plan. So again, that's what the 4 entities are here for. That's what we're here for, to partner with you so that we can be able to express your needs when it comes to review time of your budget requests, so that, when it comes to reporting time to the Department of Economic Development, we don't have any questions about why we funded this business, because everyone completely understands your mission, vision, and values and how you're able to apply that to the economic development growth of Nebraska.
Super. The other thing I'm going to say, and Eden said part of it earlier, make sure your taxes are ready. And also, if you're required to have licensing, make sure your licensing is right.
Absolutely.
The other thing we've seen people do is they wanted to do a business but they weren't in a proper zoning area, especially in Omaha. We have zoning laws. So make sure if you want to do, I'll give an example, auto repair shop, make sure you're in a place where you're zoned to be able to do auto repair. Just one example, but keep those things in mind too. Other things, make sure you're using the resources. Again, we've said it over and over. The bail hours, one of the staff at NEF, we have somebody specifically that we've hired just to focus on this. NBDC has somebody specifically hired. Center for Rural Affairs has somebody specifically hired. We have Spanish and English. Well, we have Spanish, English, and several other languages, to be honest. But so if you have a special language need, let us know. We'll find a way to get you the support you need. Don't assume you're a no until you talk to somebody, though, because there might be a way that you become eligible. We might not. We can't guarantee it, but we want to make sure if you're eligible, you have every chance to do this. Some of your resources, your economic development folks that you know in the community, your local bankers, CPAs might be helpful. Other business persons, either somebody that's got the grant or somebody that you see as successful. They can give you great information, as well as your development districts. Other statewide resources. DED has a great business resource page. Check it out. NBDC, or our Small Business Development Center, they, like we said, has a specific person. And SourceLink Nebraska has a ton of great information. Constantly, there's classes going on all the time. Both Eden and I have our classes on SourceLink, and I know that Midlands African Chamber has their classes on SourceLink as well. All three of us offer classes that are going to help you. I'll put a plug out for the Accelerator program. If you went through the Accelerator program, or if you went through Snap and Boost with Eden, you're already probably 80 to 85% ready for this grant.
Absolutely.
So you're really, really, really close. Things to remember. Just because you meet all the requirements may or may not mean that the grant will be awarded. The funds are going to be competitive. We want you to be super ready. So by March 1st, we want you to have everything in the best position, because if somebody turned out, let's say all three of us, Fidel, myself, and Eden, turn in grants, and Fidel's worked with Eden and worked with Leo at my group and worked with NBDC, and she comes and turns in her grant, hers is probably going to be at the top of the line. Maybe Eden's got everything but didn't quite do the source and use of funds very well. She'll probably be able to get help to get it there. But say I turn it in, but I've just thrown some stuff together and I haven't talked to anybody. I didn't go through Accelerator and I ignored the bail and everything else. I'll get help, but I won't get into the grant this time because it's going to be competitive. So keep that in mind. If you come super prepared, you can't guarantee it, but you'll be in a better position to be eligible. And with that, I think Eden was going to share real quick the Grow Nebraska website, just so that you have an idea what the website looks like. And then we will be happy to open it up for questions. I believe we have 15 minutes.
Absolutely. So yeah, if we can go ahead and go on to the website. So at any time, you are more than welcome to visit grownebraska.org. Grow Nebraska is, of course, Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center, parent organization that is based out of Kearney, Nebraska. Grow Nebraska is the main partner with the Department of Economic Development that helps distribute, of course, these funds for these grant dollars. So at any time, you're more than welcome to go on our website to get more information. We do have all this information both in English and in Spanish. So if you click on the NSBAA tab, it's going to take you here to this page. Ms. Fidel, if you want to start scrolling down slowly for me. So essentially, all of the information that Jim has shared throughout this presentation can be found here on this page. All the qualifiers, all the information that you're looking for to be able to answer any of your questions. And of course, if you have any additional questions that are not here on this page, you're more than welcome to call, like I said, Grow Nebraska, GNWBC, Center for Rural Affairs, Nebraska Enterprise Fund, SourceLink. We're all here to help you. This is also where you will go for the actual grant application once it opens back in March. So feel free to get familiar with this page. It clearly defines what is eligible for the grant. It clearly defines what's eligible for professional services, the difference between a new business and an existing business. It's all here for you. And then, of course, where to apply. So where she just passed, Fidel, if you want to go up just a little bit for me, I appreciate you. So once the grant opens back up, this apply now is where the button will be found for the application. It'll take you to a back page to get you registered. Again, make sure that your business plan is prepared and it's healthy. Make sure that your financial projections are solid and that you have a full understanding of what that entails. But both of those documents will be required to be uploaded in order for you to be able to submit an application. Okay, so please make sure to spend some time. You can go ahead and keep scrolling on down, Ms. Fidel. And just make sure to get yourself acclimated with this page so that you have, like I said, no questions about your status and if you qualify for this opportunity. And of course, if you want to request more information, you're more than welcome to hit that request more information button up there. Yeah, right here. Request more information about NSBAA, and then someone will contact you and send you some information via email so that we can be able to answer any of your questions. But that's just pretty much it in a nutshell. And of course, if there is, you can go ahead and scroll on back up for me. And of course, if you want any more information, just want to reiterate again, you can contact Nebraska Enterprise Fund, Center for Rural Affairs, Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center at any time. And super quick shameless plug for Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center. As Jim mentioned earlier, we do host bail office hours every Wednesday. Bail stands for banker, accountant, insurance, and legal. We also do have marketing and media assistance there as well, financial projection assistance, and government contracting through Apex Accelerator, which is, of course, a entity with Nebraska Business Development Center. All of those entities, including Catholic Charities and some other partnered organizations are in there every Wednesday from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on our campus at the Commonwealth, which is located at 103rd Street and Fort, right next door to Ambassador Worship Center. Bell did take a quick hiatus for the holiday season, but we will be opening our doors back up on January 15th. So feel free at any time if you have you can take a lunch period, or if you can sneak away for just a little while, please make sure to get in touch and come and visit us. Like I said, at the Commonwealth, like I said, anytime on Wednesdays from 10:30 to 1 p.m. And it's free, and there's no appointment necessary. So you can walk in at any time so that your questions can be answered in its entirety. So get connected with us. Allow us to be able to assist you. You don't have to go at it alone. We're here to help, and we want to help you. So that's pretty much all I got, Jim.
Hey, sounds good. And I'm going to reiterate, Eden's got resources. The Midlands African Chamber has resources. NEF has resources. We are here. Our intent is to get as many people in our community, being Omaha, qualified for this as possible. So work with us. We're a member of Midlands African Chamber, so obviously we're going to help our tribe first.
Absolutely.
All right. We'd be happy to have any questions that you may have.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jim and Eden, for that informative information. I don't see any questions yet in the comment section, so I have my own questions ready for you guys. So let's go through those as we're waiting for our viewers to put their questions down. My first questions to you guys will be, what are some of the key differences in eligibility criteria between the new business grants and existing business grants under the NSBAA?
I think the first big difference, the new businesses under 1 year is 25,000. The others is 12,500. The other biggest thing is the existing businesses are looking at the gross revenue increase. So how much did you increase from year 1 to year 2? And obviously you can't do that for a new business. Even any other tricks that you've seen with either of those?
That's pretty much it. And if you have any questions about the difference between the two, feel free to ask. But the main focus is we want to. This grant essentially is for businesses under 5 years old. So that's the main thing. And like I said, once we actually have a conversation with you, we can determine whether or not you're a new or existing business.
Awesome. Thank you. What specific types of professional business services are available through the program, and how can businesses access them? I know you guys have talked about NEF and Grow Nebraska Business Center as well as MAC, but are there other resources out there that business owners can reach out to?
Sure. Eden can help me, but one thing, if you're applying in the grant, if you need legal service, marketing services, consulting, all those potentially could be applied for and covered partially, at least through the professional services portion of the grant. So IT services, we've seen people, like I said, in all those spaces. We have access, and Eden does too, to accountants. So if you need somebody that needs that, we do training. We're going to have training on all kinds of things, as well as all three of us do training constantly. So and for people that come to training, we sometimes can get them connected for a free hour of consulting. It depends what kind of training it is, but we do have that access as well. So those are some examples. Eden probably has some more.
Yeah. My main takeaway for that is utilize your free resources. Everything doesn't necessarily have a cost, and it doesn't cost you anything to have a conversation. So just like I said, I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record at this point, but the best solution to get assistance is to walk through the door, pick up the phone. I'm not sure if Jim's phone is textable, but at GNWBC, our phone is. You can always reach out to us and just ask a question, But we do have constant daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly events between all of our entities that are built specifically for you as the business owner. So, like I said, get connected and utilize those free resources to your advantage so that by the time that you do apply for the grant, and we actually are utilizing these funds for paid services, you're able to maximize the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you, Eden. My next question will be, what qualifies a business project as execution ready, and what documentation is required, excuse me, is required to meet this standard?
It's really a business that you have a business plan and a marketing strategy that you can demonstrate. If you're just starting, it's something that you can say, hey, with this money, I can get started, I can get going. It might not be enough money, but at least it'll get me the key things.
Right.
For an existing business, it's if I get this extra whatever, I'm going to be able to grow because of it. It's really in your business plan is going to demonstrate whether or not you're shovel ready and ready to go. Unfortunately, but Eden and I have both seen a lot of people come and they haven't had a business plan. They haven't taken the time, and we're not talking a 50-page business plan. We're not talking one that's been artificially or whatever AI generated. We want your business plan from you.
Yes.
But again, 3 to 5, maybe 7 pages, and nobody, unless you're super complex, you don't need more for this grant. So that's what we want. The other thing we want to see is the financial projections that show this business has. Obviously, you can't guarantee it. This is business, but we want to see your projections to show the probability of becoming a profitable business, because that's what we want. We want these businesses to succeed. In 5 years, we want 89% of them to be around. So we're hoping for businesses. We want to start businesses, and this grant can help us do that.
Absolutely.
You cannot stress that business plan further than that. A lot of people don't necessarily understand the importance of financial projections when it comes to business plans. And thank you so much, Jim, for just stressing that, when it comes to financial projections, just having that first year, the second year, and the third year, and what needs to be in there. And I keep on telling people, if you're not sure, please reach out to NBDC. That's what they're there for.
Right.
Ask for help. The resources are there. Please utilize them.
And they're free. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yes, please utilize the resources available to you. Don't just sit on your butt and say, I don't know how to do it. There are people out there who are ready for you to come so they can assist you. That's why they're there. So please utilize the resources. Don't say, I don't know, nobody told me, because Jim told you, I've told you, Eden told you, so many other people have told you, we've told you several times. We've said it here. Please go get the help you need to get your business plan ready. I don't want to see any business plan without any financial projections. It is not a business plan if it does not have those numbers.
Yes, that is correct. Don't be on the struggle bus, especially by yourself.
100%. And here's the deal. Snap and Boost and the accelerator will help you do that.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that our business plan Snap and Boost course is a 7-week course that we take our entrepreneurs through. We break down the business plan into 6 different sections. We bring in expert speakers in order to be able to put the business plan into digestible parts. Winsley Durand, formerly of the Omaha Chamber, now with MCL Construction, is our trainer for the 2nd year in a row. And February 4th, we'll kick off our 10th class of business plan Snap and Boost. I'm super excited about all that's to come for 2025. But our last class that we graduated in September, we graduated with 100% success rate of 33 entrepreneurs that are on their way to applying for NSBAA. So again, utilize your resources, allow us to be able to assist you so where you understand, like I said, your mission, your vision, and your values, your financial projections. And so you're already a step ahead when we get to this application process. Be prepared. And like I said before, be able to tell your story. And that's the most important part for me, the biggest takeaway when explaining this opportunity to you guys.
And thank you so much for reiterating that, Eden.
And I'm just going to add it because numbers based and back to the projections. Tell your story with numbers.
Yes.
You know, if you can say you can sell 100, tell us how and show us. I'm going to sell 100,000 by selling 10 to here, 20 to here, and 50 to there.
Right.
You know.
Thank you. My next question has to do with program implementation. What is the significance of the phased rollout, soft launch, strategic partners, and statewide and public rollout, and how does it ensure program effectiveness?
Eden, do you want to start?
Ooh.
Or I can too, but basically it's a statewide program. So we chose partners, or I didn't, but Grow and the DED chose partners to make sure that there were language talents, there were different diversity talents, there's rural and there's urban. We made sure that the organizations, some way or other, served all 91 and 93 counties of Nebraska.
Right.
So that's the first thing, but we also made sure that there's language talent. We made sure that there's lived experience talent as well. So we want to make sure partners were chosen in the best way possible to make sure all those criteria happened. Remember, we are also guided by the law and the intent of the law. So there's things, I'll be honest, Eden will be honest too, there's things we don't necessarily like, but we can't change right now because it's written into the law that it needs to be this way or that way. So some things we just can't change because regulation requires, or legally we can't. So that's something to keep in mind too, is yeah, we'd love to change some things, but because the law was written the way it was, we can't. I mean, so Eden, you might have some other perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my 2 cents is the collaborative partners with the Department of Economic Development was specifically chosen because of the technical assistance that we can provide to all 91 counties in Nebraska. A lot of our programs are statewide. It has a statewide reach. And again, we're not here just to talk about business. We're here to actually walk through the business journey with you. And so these 4 partners were designed as a nonprofit organization specifically to be able to assist the small business owner. And so therefore, because of our statewide capability, that gives us the opportunity to reach everyone with this opportunity. So again, get connected so that we can help you. But that's essentially why we were formed together, so that we can be the Justice League for Nebraska.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome. Thank you. My next question is going to touch base on funding usage. And I know Jim has talked about that, but I know if you other guests have joined us since we've been live that were not there when Jim was touching base on that. So what are the specific limitations on the usage of grant funds, and how are applicants expected to utilize or outline their funding plans? If you can please stress that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, a lot of the startup, the expansion costs are legit as long as you can prove they are. Things I've seen funded, a lot of times things related to equipment. So if somebody's buying a piece of equipment to make their business better or to get their business going, I've seen points of sale. I've seen websites funded. I've seen legal fees funded. What is more difficult, sometimes in some cases, training has been funded, but it's a harder one to see funded. Vehicles tend not to be funded. So if you ask for a vehicle, it's going to be a difficult one. There might be a case, but usually it's going to be no. We've seen up to 1, 2, 3 months of rent, 1 to 3 months of inventory. So we've seen a lot of startups, and they say, okay, we think we're going to sell this much. We base it on the cost of goods sold. So say they're going to sell $40,000 of cost of goods sold, not sales level, but the purchase price up to 3 months, so 25%. So up to 10,000 of 40,000 could be funded. Say your rent is $1,000 per month. I've seen cases where 2 to 3 months of rent have been covered. We cannot cover 6 months of rent. We can't cover. we've seen, Eden and I have both seen the first 3 months of insurance covered, so a business can be properly insured and generating income before they have to start paying in month 4 for insurance. Eden, you've seen a lot of other things and that have or haven't been funded as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, of course, we've seen anywhere from karate dojos apply. We've been able to supply, uniforms and things for the youth. The boards that have to be broke in order for you to get your belt. The mirrors that go up in the facility in order for you to be able to have good form. So again, being intentional about your request. We've done painting businesses. We've done remodeling services, massage parlors. I'm sitting here trying to think. There's been so many different types of industries that we've been able to touch. There's been so many different types of businesses, both new and existing businesses that we've been able to reach. And so again, the main thing is if you really are serious about business growth, you automatically should be intentional about those requests. You probably already have an idea in your mind of exactly what you want to ask for, what you're wanting to use these funds for, because we want to grow and we want to be intentional. And so if you do have a question, again, ask us. But the sky's really the limit when it comes to the opportunity for a business owner. We just have to make it the request in a very practical way.
Yeah. And just one point, and Eden's going to back me up here on technology. We've seen people be able to get a point of sales and get a basic computer. Right. This grant is not intended to get you the highest level computer, and that, with the exception, if you're a graphic artist,
right,
we can talk about, hey, how do we present this and show I don't need just the basic computer. I need something with extra power. That we've seen that happen. We've seen people that have applied for the 3 computers at the highest level, and they weren't even doing anything technology related. Right. They got 1 computer at a basic level. It's still a very good computer. It's just so keep that in mind. What am I really going to do? What's going to really drive my business forward? And remember, we've seen people, they wanted a super fancy camera and they weren't a photographer. So it's like, that may not be your best.
Those lenses,
it's nice to have a super fancy camera, but how are you going to really show return on investment? And that's because this is going to be competitive. Return on investment is going to become really important.
It's really important. And essentially, what we tell our clients at GNWBC is use this as a seed. So if I'm utilizing this money, $25,000 is not a lot of cash. However, it is enough to plant a seed so that eventually it's going to essentially grow your business. Mm-hmm. So when you are requesting these items, think of it in that nature. What can I put in the ground today that's going to give me a harvest for tomorrow, right? So if we're going from that terminology, what can I ask for with this grant that's going to allow me to grow my business 2, 5, 10 years from now? Yeah. I think if we put it in that mindset, then, that should answer a lot of questions for people.
Definitely. Thank you both for those great answers. That was excellent. I still don't see any questions from our viewers. So I have one last question for you guys, and then we will wrap it up. This has to do more with collaboration and with resource providers. How can applicants maximize their partnership with recognized service providers during their grant application and program implementation process?
First of all, go to the bail on Wednesdays.
Absolutely.
Come to our bail on January 9th on Thursday night, where we're going to have a roundtable. Take advantage of the classes that Midlands African Chamber, that the Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center, that NEF are doing, that Catholic Charities is doing. I know they're not a partner, but jeepers, they do some great stuff. Take advantage of these things. Our resource partners are here, but also get involved early now, next week. Well, in 2 weeks, because next
you took my talking point, Jim.
All right. Well, we got 2 months to get you ready.
Yeah.
You've got 2 months. And the last thing I'm going to say, and Fidel, you already said it to a degree, be ready. This is going to take a little bit of work. It's not going to take a lot of work, but think about the return. Even if you get $5,000 and put 10 hours into it, that's $500 an hour return. That's pretty darn good returns. I don't know. Most lawyers don't even make $500 an hour. So just keep in mind that a little bit of work can get you a big reward. Eden, I'm sorry I took your talking points, but I'm sure you have them.
It's cool. No, I was just literally going to say, don't wait until 2025. Don't wait until March. Don't wait until the sun comes back out and it starts getting warm again. Take advantage now. My personal trainer told me a while ago that the best bodies are made in the winter, right? So if we're using that same, Jim's like, oh, but if we're looking at it from that analogy, do the work now. Get connected to these resources. Again, utilize those free resources. And even if you do have to make a small investment, make sure you do it and do it now. The best, just because you have an extensive business plan doesn't mean that, again, that you know how to share that story. And in essence, getting connected to these resources will help you be able to kind of formulate that so that we can translate that into a request when it comes to creating that budget for the up to $25,000 request. So again, the more prepared that we can be now, the better it's going to be when the sun comes back out. The better it's going to be by the time that we get to March, which of course is going to help with your not only just your eligibility, but help you get to the front of the line when it comes down to the competition side of dispersing the grants.
Yeah, and the other thing I do want to say, and I need to say this carefully, you can use anybody to help you. If you use the list of 4, there should not be a charge for anything unless it's a special class like a QuickBooks. So I know that you can pay to get this done, but you don't need to. There's plenty of resource at the 4 organizations that we just listed that you can come and work with any of the 4, and you'll get the support you need to have the most eligible application possible. I will put a plug out. Us, Center for Rural Affairs, and Grow Women's Business Center, we're talking every week to the administrators of this grant. So we're getting the latest and newest every single week. So be careful where you spend your money. If you're going to spend money, things like getting set up as an LLC might make more sense than some of the other things. So I just be careful. I can't say more, but be careful where you spend your money.
All right. This was great. Eden and Jim, thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise with us this evening. To our audience, thank you for joining us for this Power Hour Business Development Virtual Live series presented by Google. We hope that you found this discussion as enlightening and informative as we did. If you have any further questions or would like to get in touch with us, please visit us at www.midlandsafricanchamber.com or just contact us directly. We do have the next cohort, the 5th cohort of the Mac Accelerator program. Registrations are currently open and will be closing on December 31st. So please make sure you visit us on our website and register for that. And also the applications for our next.
Did we freeze?
Competition will be going live on Complete Your Applications. Yeah. On that note, thank you all for joining us this evening. Do you have anything else to say, Jim?
Only want to tell Accelerator is a great option and Snap and Boost is a great option. So make sure you get into one of those programs. Please, they're great programs.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Happy holidays and have a good night. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.